Okay, let's talk about groups. So WKInterfaceGroup. A group is a container for one or more interface objects. You can arrange these objects vertically or horizontally in your interface. It allows you to create layouts that you would like, from very simple layouts to complex. Groups can be nested one inside another, and that's how you can create complex layouts. You can control groups programmatically via creating a reference via an outlet, so that you can make changes while the app is running. So let me go through an example here. So in Object Library, if you go ahead and search for group, let's go over and drag one onto our interface. And you can see over here on the right, under the Attributes Inspector, we've got the different layout options, horizontal or vertical. So let's go ahead and launch the app right now with just a plain group on the page with its settings set to horizontal and see what happens. Okay, nothing shows up. So a group is just a container for other objects. So let's go ahead and add a label to this group, as well as a date. Okay. Now you can see in this, let's actually shorten this up off. Let's take off the date itself and just do the time. Go ahead and run it. And now it shows up. But that doesn't show us very much. So if you go over on the left and in the section where you can see the outline of your document, go ahead and choose group. If it's not showing up, make sure that it's showing up by clicking the document outline button. Go ahead and click group and make sure it's selected, and then change the layout to vertical. So you can see now one UI element stacks on top of the other. So go ahead and run that. And we can see that they do indeed stack on top of each other. Go back to the group. All right. So that's layout, vertical and horizontal. There's also an option for insets, which specify the amount of space to insert between edges of the group and the parent container. So you can leave it as at the default or specify specific size. So say you wanted the top to be 5 points pushed down, or the left to be 7 points pushed over. Okay, this is where you can specify that. For now, let's just leave it on the default. You can also specify the amount of space in between items. Okay, the default on that is 2 points. So let's go ahead and up that to 10, space them out a bit. Or as you can see, if we bring that down to 0, they're right against each other. Okay, let's leave it at the default for 2 for now. And then let's go to the next section. So the next section talks about the background. So here you can specify an image that is in your app bundle. For example, this image I have that I had labeled resume. It's this ugly little image behind here, but that's just an example to show you that you can specify a background, and then you can specify the mode on that background just like you would a regular image, as well as whether or not you want to animate it, and whether or not it animates on load, and how long you want it to animate. For our example, we're not going to animate nor specify any background. One helpful tip when debugging groups is to specify a color. When you're trying to figure out if you've got nested groups, for example, you can set the color to be something different. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So set it to a certain color, and then add another group to it. Okay, now this group, because its color is just clear, it's inheriting the color from the parent, but let's go ahead and change it. As you can see, it is now a different color. A little bit another way that you can see a little more easily is if you change the layout on your outer container, and then now you can take and move around the items within the group and see how the layout affects that. So it looks like I moved that one outside of the group. I can move it back in. I can move it into the inner group. Let's get that label, move it. Okay, let's actually do this. Let's put it above. Different options you have there for creating different layouts. Okay, so radius. Let's talk about radius for a minute here. Right now we're on the outer group. So the radius gives you a way to round the corners of your group. So the default is 6. Let's go ahead and show you what happens when we go up to, say, 15. See how rounded they are? So that is what radius is for, and it allows you to specify the default corners on that. So I'm going to turn that off. View, position, and size are the same as with any UI element here. You can specify the values there. So that's it pretty much for a group. Just a reminder, a group is a container for one or more objects, and you can arrange them vertically or horizontally within the group. You can nest groups. You can specify inset, spacing, background, mode, animate, color, and radius on each of these. And that's it for groups.